All right, so let's talk about error messages and exceptions in Python. So we're going to go over how you can handle exceptions in Python. So let's jump right in. So if we have something like this where we say print and we'll give it a number. So say 5 and we'll say plus, and we'll just do a variable we haven't assigned yet. So let's say we have a variable called num we haven't created yet. We're getting an error right here, but let's see what happens if we try to run this. So you see when we run this, we're getting this error down here, and it's a name error. It says name of num is not yet defined because we haven't created that. So what we want to do is show you how we might handle these different exceptions. And there's all types of different exceptions that might come up. So we'll show you a few of them and how you can maybe handle them. So in Python, let's come up here first and we'll just comment this out. And then we'll come down below, and what we're going to use to handle these exceptions is something called a try block here. So we're going to say try like this, and then inside of this we're going to do our block here. So we're going to say we'll go variable and we'll say 8, and that's going to be equal, and we're going to do an input here, and we're going to say enter a number. Now we're going to have to turn this into a number, so we'll say int like this, and then we can come down below here and or beside here, and we'll say input like this and here, and we'll say enter a number like that, and then we'll come in here, and below this we're just going to print out a. So for this try block, we're going to say enter a number. Now we want it to make sure it's an integer, so say we enter something that's not an integer, this is going to throw an exception here. Now in order to handle that, we're going to come back here and we're going to say except like this, and we're going to say a value error because we're going to pass in the wrong value to test this out. So a value error like this, and then below this we're just going to print out what we want to show. So we're going to say print out, and we'll say sorry, that was not a valid number like this. Okay, now we can go ahead and save this and see how this works. So theoretically, if we put something into the box right here that is not a number, we should get this back out. So let's run this, and we're going to ask us to enter a number because that's what this input here is. So let's say not a number like that, and we enter that, and we get back this value, sorry, that was not a valid number. So that is how we are going to handle different errors with this try and except. Now the cool thing with this except here is right now we're passing a value error, but there could be a bunch of different types of errors that we could handle. So if we come down here, we could say chain these on, so we can say except again. And here we might want to do something called like a name error. And you can look up all the different errors that we have. There's a bunch of them in Python. So a name error, and then we might say print name not defined like that. So this would be used if we passed in something like a num that hadn't been defined yet or something. That's where they would print this. So that is that. And then finally, if you come down below here, you can just add an else clause here, and it'll just print out whatever you want. So we'll actually do this one. So we'll come down here and we'll say print, and we'll just say no errors thrown like this. So now we come here, let's clear this out, and then if we run this again, gonna ask us for a number. Let's put in 3 here, and it'll just pass out no errors thrown. So that is how you are gonna handle different exceptions in Python. Now you can also go and throw an exception, so let's show you how you might do that. Comment out this, come down below here, and all right, so let's define something here. So we'll say def, and let's say get num like that, and we'll pass in a number here, and then we'll do an if statement. So if the num is less than, let's say 2, we'll go below here, and then we'll raise an exception. So we do that with this raise keyword here. So we'll raise again a value error like that, and then we'll just pass in here number cannot be less than 2. Okay, so that is going to be our what we need there. And then finally, we can just return num if it's good. So if the number is less than 2, when we pass in to this get num here, then we're going to throw the exception. So let's try it out. So let's come down below here, and we'll say print, and then we'll just go like this, and we'll just come in here and say get num like that, and then we're going to pass in 1. So this should be good right now. So go ahead and save that. So the value error here, number cannot be less than 2. So we're passing this 1, and this is what it's checking. So it's going to throw an error. Now if we pass in a valid value, so something greater than 2, and we run this, we should get no errors here. So that is what we are getting, just passing back the value, and that's this returning of the num there. So that is how you can throw an exception. Now, you don't usually want to do this because they are quite expensive in Python. So this isn't something you're going to be reaching for a lot, but it is good just to show you how that might work. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.